Welcome everybody to Vayichan, part 2 for the 3 weeks and Tisha B'Av. It's all about Avos Yisrael. Our class is called The Secure Attachment with Hashem first and then others. Let's get right into it. Why is it so hard for people, for most people, let's say, to just get along with everyone? Why are so many people often in a state of being angry, offended, hurt, kind of like feeling taken advantage of? People are inconsiderate. We don't like everybody. We don't want to get along with everybody. We feel we have agendas, and gripes against people. And we don't like people who have personally hurt us, we feel are dangerous to our community or our nation or doing damage. Why is it so hard to like everybody? And really what we're getting into is what is a huge area in psychology, which is attachments. Why is it so hard to be attached to other people? Okay, sometimes we're too attached, we're not attached enough, we're not attached enough to feel their pain, we're too attached to the point that we get hurt if they don't, include us in everything. What's at the core of a healthy relationship with other people that will allow them to thrive in our presence and allow us to thrive in their presence and not have all that garbage in between? Some people seem to be able to do it. What's the secret? And we're going to look at it from a Torah perspective and from a psychological perspective. We're going to start with a psychological approach. There is a very important theory that underscores relationships. It's called attachment theory. In a nutshell, okay, the nature of a person's attachment is going to be the way they're going to be able to go through life, and it's going to dictate how they go through life and how their relationships go. A healthy or secure attachment, in a nutshell, is when a person experiences, because of their caregivers, because of how they grew up, because of their mindset, because of many things, a person experiences the following balance. The balance is like this. On the one hand, other people love me. Let's say in a normal situation, my parents love me, they care about me, they do for me, they protect me, okay? I'm part of their lives. My interests are paramount to them. I know there's someone to turn to, someone to talk to, somebody to help me through things. Maybe that's on a physical level, maybe even on an emotional level. They're helping me sort things out and figure out how to handle life. I know I belong and I'm included and I'm enveloped and I'm safe and somebody else cares about me. That's part one. But at the same time, a secure attachment requires the following other balancing side of it, which is, but I'm my own person and I'm allowed to be me and I'm my own way of thinking and my brain works a certain way and my own struggles, my own worries, my own coping mechanisms, my own need to sort things out. I'm not someone else, and I'm allowed in this safe environment where I'm loved and cared for. I'm also allowed to be me. I'm not an extension of someone else, and other people don't automatically know me. They don't automatically read my mind. They don't automatically know what's good for me, and they need to get to know me, and I need to let them in, and I need to share with them. Otherwise, they really won't know me, and I am a separate person, and I'm entitled to a separate space and respect as a separate person who does things, according to what is, seems the way I need to do them, okay? So that balance leaves a person in what's called a secure attachment. They're given the dignity of self, and they're also given the safety of belonging. Now, this doesn't always go so well. Some people are so enveloped in their parents', let's say, lives that they're not allowed to be a separate person. And if they do anything different than the way their parents would do something, they're viewed as a threat. How could you do such a thing? We don't do that. That's not how we talk. That's not how we think. That's not how we do things. That's not the choices we make. Who are you? You're not us. And suddenly their separateness is questioned or challenged. And they just have to make someone else happy as an extension of someone else. And that creates a tremendous frustration and defensiveness. And the person ends up feeling basically alone and abandoned. Say, hey, I'm all by myself in this world. Nobody gets me. Nobody knows who I am. Nobody understands what's going on in my world. Nobody cares. I just have to be like them. And if not, I'm bad. So suddenly a person feels very much alone. And that person will have a hard time having a good relationship later on, or maybe they're not enveloped too much, but they're abandoned too much early on. Like, figure it out yourself. I don't know what you need. I don't know what you like. Go figure it out yourself. Figure it out, fend for yourself type of thing, which leaves that child feeling the deficit of the safety and the protection. And again, they feel like they're alone. Ultimately, in an insecure attachment, the person is feeling alone. Nobody knows, nobody cares, nobody tries to help me, nobody tries to help me sort things out, nobody tries to give me direction, nobody puts in the effort to get to know what I need and what's going on for me. And my chinuch is completely not in tune to my needs and how I'm trying to figure things out in this world. My chinuch is like how they think it should be according to them, and that's it, on their terms, the way they're used to it. And so my chinuch isn't suited for me. I don't know how to handle things. I don't know how to negotiate things. And I'm basically alone, and I got to fend for myself, and I got to wing it. And that person has an insecure attachment. And what that means is that in life, as they try to form healthy attachments with other people, it'll be very complicated. And what will happen is they're going to be always trying to fill that void. So when they start a new relationship, they're going to say, is this person going to care about me? Like subconsciously, is this person going to care about what I need? Is this person going to try to get to know what's going on inside of me? And the second that other person does something that's contrary or different or not the way I would do it, suddenly that insecure person feels, oh, because they don't care about me. This is personal. Obviously, if they cared about me, they wouldn't do that. This is just another proof that nobody cares about me, as I always knew. And so the insecurely attached person is always taking offense, always feeling hurt, very hard to apologize to. They don't trust that anybody cares about them or has their well-being in mind. They're always assuming that people have ulterior motives, and they basically find their safe space in their own little bubble, and they could even distort gestures of love and connection and distort them and view them as some things with ulterior motives. The person doesn't care, they did it for their own benefit. They're very hard to have a relationship with. They're always suspicious, feel threatened, feel insulted, feel offended, pulling off to themselves, going to their own little bubble, very happy alone, like, okay, fine, so divorce me, I don't care, I'm happy alone type of thing, and they don't have good relationships. And of course, there can never be, let's go to our topic now, there can never be Avas Yisrael when a person just is always assessing in every relationship whether that other person is taking me into consideration first and foremost, and not granting the right to another person to be who they are and do things that work for them, and because no one ever did that for them, and always taking offense and always being hurt and always testing people and never accepting apologies and not being able to really give and not being able to be vulnerable and like give to a relationship, always being defensive. It's just really hard to have Avas Yisrael under these situations. So what we really need to talk about now, if this little 10-minute preliminary introduction about attachment theory, how does one, let's say, who didn't have a great growing up situation or whatever, how do they become secure? How do they become secure and be able to build good relationships with other people and not be doubting and distrusting and offended all the time? Okay, so now we go to Judaism. Now we go to the Torah, and we see that the foundation of our nation, and when we say the foundation of our nation, we mean the ideas that gave birth to Judaism, which that means the ideas that taught the world what is the human being's relationship with Hashem, really. What is our relationship with God? Okay, these ideas were formulated and taught to the world by who we refer to as the three avot, the three fathers. The mothers had a whole other job, but the three fathers, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, each step by step illuminated, the minds of mankind with the understanding of what is the true relationship of a human being with God. And these ideas gave birth to Judaism. And we live with these ideas. So what were the ideas? Well, it's very simple. Avraham said chesed, you know that, right? Kindness. Yitzchak said gevura, discipline. And Yaakov is a combination of both. How does this relate to attachment theory? It's literally exactly attachment theory. Avraham's chesed is not so much that Avraham did for others, okay? And just want to mention that many classes online on Torah Anytime. Essentially, in the last few months, we've done 4 series. Okay, a series called The 13 Ikrim, a series called David HaMelech, His Life and Times, a series called You Take Two, all about what is a human being. It's on the first 2 chapters of Bereshis, and a Rus series. In any case, we spoke about this idea of chesed in a number of these series. It's a foundational idea. When we say Avram did chesed, okay, we don't mean he was nice to other people. That's not the essence of chesed, okay? Chesed does not mean one giver bestowing their generosity on a taker. Can't be. Because we learn in Tehillim 89, Olam chesed yibana. The world is created with chesed. If chesed is somebody doing something for someone else, you can't say the world was created with chesed. You have to say the world is, Hashem conducts the world with chesed. But creation is how Hashem brought everyone into existence. So if chesed is doing for another, okay, there were no other people. Chesed is not doing for someone. It's actually what brings other people into existence to begin with. Okay? What chesed really means is making space for others in your own existence. What HaKadosh Baruch Hu did is, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is everything. Ein od milvado. There's nothing but Hashem. There's no such thing as Hashem and then something else. There's no such thing. There's only Hashem. And then what did Hashem do? Hashem did chesed. Chesed means Hashem creates a so-called space within his everythingness for us to exist within. This is a theme we talk about over and over and over again in all our classes. The model in human life, the exact replica of this in human life, is how every single human being comes into existence, which is as a fetus in their mother's womb. The mother makes space within her existence for someone else to exist and to thrive and to live off her existence. Chesed is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu creates a, not literal, separate space for all of humanity, the entire everything of creation, to exist and thrive and live off Hashem's existence, like the fetus in the womb. Chesed is making someone else part of you, enveloping them, including them in your existence. So we said secure attachment, first and foremost, like parents, this is the model. You're part of my life. And Hashem makes a human being helpless, not animals, but human beings totally helpless, in order to first and foremost, like Avraham, establish you are part of my existence. There's somebody out there who cares for you, feeds you, clothes you, comes running when you call, cares when you need something, devoted to you completely. That has to be deeply integrated in everybody's psyche. And that's the first thing that Avraham taught the world. Remember when he had a bris milah and he's sitting outside looking for people? So what did Avraham do? He opened his tent on 4 sides. What that means is you're part of my life. You're part of my life. I identify with you completely. Whatever is good for me is good for you. You can live off my overflow of everything I have. How does a fetus get food? The mother doesn't take a spoon and stick it in her abdomen. The mother eats. And the baby lives off the overflow. Avraham is saying, everything I have is yours. You live off my overflow. You're part of my existence. And the reason Avraham davened for Sodom is because when somebody else is part of you, they're not a separate thing. Like your behavior to them is not a function of whether they deserve it or not. They're just you. So they live off you. Whether they deserve it or not is not even part of the equation. That's the first thing. That's chesed. That's step 1 of a secure attachment. Step 2, Yitzchak. He's called Gevura. Gevura is already separate space. Separate space. The parent has to hold back, discipline, and give space for the child to exist as a separate person. They can't flood them or suffocate them with the parent's everythingness. What this means is kind of like Hashem making Hester Panim. Okay, like pulling back a little bit, hiding a little bit, giving us the experience of autonomy and free choice. Okay, so that we get to be a person who can choose. All right. Yitzchak represents for us the capacity of a human being to hold back and recognize, okay, that it is their responsibility to be a person on their own and, in a sense, earn their keep. They're not just an extension of their parents, but they have to earn their existence. They have to deserve it. And Yitzchak, we know, always was associated with meticulousness in every action, every thought, every word. Does he deserve to exist as a separate person? not just included and subsumed in the person, but self-development as a individual who has a role to play, okay? And until a person recognizes that they're completely part of God's existence, that's Yitzchak on the Akedah saying, okay, I don't have a separate life to defend. Until they recognize that, they're going off and making their own separate life is going to be dangerous. But once they recognize that, then they can exist as a separate person with Bechira that knows anyway they're part of a Kadosh Baruch Hu's existence. So they realize now they're not all alone, trying to just survive in a big confusing world. No, they're part of a Kadosh Baruch Hu's existence. Hashem provides for them. Hashem knows them. Hashem is guiding them. Hashem is right there. But Hashem also wants them to choose and act almost like God's partner. We call this creator mode, versus to feel abandoned and alone and helpless, like what we call survival mode. So first we have to know that we're secure. Then we can be a separate self. This has to be a balance. Yaakov is the one that represents the perfect balance. Okay, the perfect balance. He always knows that Kadosh Baruch Hu is with him, and yet at the same time he knows he has to make choices and operate in this world and make a Kiddush Hashem and partner with God and further God's agenda. So, a human being. Let's put this together. In terms of relationship with Hashem, okay, we, in order to be secure, all right, and relate to other people, this is what we have to know. All humanity, not just the Jews, all human beings are included in God's existence. Nobody has a separate existence that comes from some other source. Every human being is included in and living off the overflow of Hashem's everythingness, life, chayim, okay? We are all living as participants in Hashem's existence. The difference between the biggest tzaddik and the worst Rasha is one thing. The tzaddik knows it. And so they don't look around at every other person and say, oh my goodness, this is a world where we're all alone, there's X amount of resources, and anybody is a potential threat to me because they're getting in my way and getting what I need and taking what I should have, and I'm competing with everyone for the basics or more power or more status, because that helps me get what I want in this very vulnerable world that I'm in this state of vulnerability. When a person knows that we're all like a billion fetuses in one womb, we're all part of Hashem's existence, and Hashem could provide for everyone, and everyone has their own feed, umbilical cord, okay, from Hashem, connection. This other guy's not a threat to me. So let's say they don't know this, okay? They don't understand they're included in Hashem's existence. They don't have that secure framework. They don't have that knowledge of what chesed is, okay? They don't know that. So they think they're all alone in a scary world with lots of variables and lots of dangers, and they got to use their wits to survive the best way they can, and therefore they got to do what they got to do, and they can't worry about ethics and morals and other people. And if I see somebody operating like that, I know they have a very insecure attachment. They think they're all alone. They don't think there's anybody that's including them in their sphere of concern and love. They don't know. So they feel all alone. That's what leads to somebody becoming a terrible Rasha. The difference between a tzaddik and a Rasha is that tzaddik knows they're included and participating in Hashem's existence, and the Rasha doesn't. They're both there, but the Rasha doesn't know it. So they're going into this whole path of fear-based, unethical living, and a lot of hedonism, because like, hey, we're all going to die, so who cares? And they go into that mode, and now we have to deal with them. So when we look at other people who are in survival mode, yeah, they're going to be jealous. Yeah, they're going to be angry. Yeah, they're going to be selfish. Yeah, they're going to be maybe even narcissistic. Yeah, they're going to be impatient and scared. But that's because they don't know that they're part of Hashem's existence. They don't know about Avram and Chesed. They just think they're all alone. So instead of being angry at them, realize that that's their problem, not my problem. And I'm not going to be pulled into their survival of the fittest mode of thinking. What I will do is stay separate, know that I have a secure attachment. I know that if this guy doesn't give me a job, Hashem has a billion other ways to get me a job, okay? We're all in the womb. There's a million umbilical cords. And yes, each person, the way Hashem provides for us is through other people. But if that particular person is not going to be the messenger, so somebody else will. It's okay. We see the hand of Hashem all the time. So secure attachment is basically knowing that no one else is a threat to me. That's the core of Avas Yishol. I can love other people because I can have sympathy for the fact that a lot of people are in survival mode. They don't know, they don't understand, they're reacting to what seems self-evident, which isn't self-evident, that, you got to make the best of it here. Even those that are in what I call kosher style survivor mode, like I'm trying to survive, and like the best person to keep happy so that maybe my chances of surviving with the least amount of pain are the best is God. So let me keep God happy by like doing mitzvahs and praying and giving charity. Okay, that keeps God happy. That's crazy talk. That's like saying Hashem is there, I'm here, and let me keep him happy so he won't hurt me. But if you're part of Hashem's existence, the whole thing comes down to, do you realize it or do you not? If you realize it, the mitzvahs don't keep Hashem happy. There are ways of keeping that flow open, that connection open, that lucidity and that clarity present in your mind at all times. That's what the mitzvahs are for. So you're not alone. And then you can go through life with an ayin tov and having pity for those that are in survival mode and trying to inspire them and enlighten them, but don't get pulled into it. Don't get angry at them. Don't let them make you feel like you're losing something because of them. No one loses anything because of other people. Not really. Not with the understanding that ultimately HaKadosh Baruch Hu provides for us, and that's the only source. And yet temporarily somebody could cause us damage, of course. But a person that understands the chesed and gevura component, the secure I'm included and this separate, but I have free choice, and Hashem is giving me a challenge now to see how I deal with it as Hashem's partner in this world to bring this idea to everybody. That's how we approach it. So what we're saying here, we just did a lot of information in a short time. And I just want to mention that to talk about this more, if you want to discuss this or want to learn more about it, you can send me an email, EST, that's the first three letters of my name, Esther, EST Wein@gmail, okay? I can add you to our Q&A we have a WhatsApp Q&A chat based on all the shiurim. I can answer a question privately. There's a lot to talk about. I have a bunch of shiurim about this topic, but I know I'm talking fast because there's so much material. But the main idea is the avos, chesed, gevura, and what's called emes or tiferes are attachment theory. First, you're completely included. That's called chesed. Okay? Chesed means you're part of my life. I identify with you so much that I'm not doing for you. I care about you so much that if you're in pain, I'm in pain. So I have to alleviate my own pain, I have to do something, okay? Because you're part of me. So I have to. I can't it's not like I'm compelled to do something for you. I have to respond. It's personally hurting me. You're part of me. Which, by the way, this chesed is so deeply ingrained in the psyche of Am Yisrael that till this very day, even Nebuch, Rachmana litzlan, Jews who literally eat pig on Yom Kippur, okay? They will be the first people running to Haiti or Turkey or who knows where, because people are suffering, and when people suffer, it hurts us. This is chesed. This is the essence of chesed, okay? And then Yitzchak says, yes, but the whole idea of dignity of another human being, that they have free choice, that they're a separate person. All of Judaism begins with Yetzias Mitzrayim. Do you know what that is? That is a divine protest against exploitation and injustice, about suffocating other people, including them in your existence in a negative way, not in a safe way, saying you're just here to please me. That's injustice. That's exploitation. That's slavery. That is the chesed gone all the way. It's not chesed, but including someone else as an adjunct or a prop in your own show. God says, no, separate space. They're free. They have to make their own choices. They have to live their lifestyle. You can't enslave them. No way. This will not go unchallenged. This is not permissible in the world. That's the separateness. They're separate people. Okay. So this is the second level. This is the dignity of the human being an individual with free choice. This is the Yitzchak idea. As soon as we know that we're part of Hashem's existence, that was Makos B'choros and the clarity of God's revelation, then we're safe to develop our own separate sense of self, because it will be in connection with our identification as part of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and as a partner to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, as a co-creator with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that final state of balancing both, that is called emes. That's true. That's a true balance. That's the tiferes, the pe'er, the crown of glory. And that is when a person understands this, they can go through life with dignity, not being perturbed by the way other people behave, being able to be generous of spirit, generous of mind, understanding that some people don't understand the true arrangement and they're living in survival mode, instead of creator mode. And that's a sad, tragic thing because it changes their whole life. But I don't need to be pulled into it. I don't need to hate them for it. And I don't need to always punish them for it. Maybe just find ways to enlighten them that there's another way to live, that there's another way to be. And to make sure that in our relationship with other people, we convey to them both the chesed, that we care and they're included, but also the dignity that there's someone else. And we have to get to know them. And we just don't automatically know what's right for them. And we don't get to decide what's right for other people. Just like that, we help them learn and sort things through and negotiate things and come up with a sense of how to implement the true Torah values that we're teaching them according to what they're capable of. Alrighty, so this is, I feel, how attachment theory goes straight to the three of us, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, how understanding this helps us really have Avas Yisrael, not be triggered, not be pulled into machlokas, not be pulled into all the drama, and lets us be a positive influence a positive influence on people and stay kind of above it and still be generous and loving. If you have any questions, estwein@gmail.com. Have a wonderful day, everyone, and may this year we see the Geula Shlema during the 3 weeks, and Tisha B'Av may be a yontif for everyone. Thank you, Vayichan.